Hey Kyle, how you doing? Thank you for being
Do,
here. I appreciate it.
Doing great. It's always great to be here. Thank you for the invite. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I got my COVID booster actually like yesterday. And
Sure.
I'm to be honest, I'm feeling a little woozy. I'm feeling a little off,
Okay.
a little
Okay.
uh, a
That's
little
probably
a little
normal.
uneven, a little uneven.
Okay.
Uh something kind of actually feels funny in the knee area.
Mm.
Like it kind of feels like I took an arrow to the knee, if you know what I'm saying. Took an arrow. Took an arrow to the knee. No, Kyle, wait, Kyle. I hope Kyle gets 1,000 arrows to the knee. Welcome to the third episode of Chocobo Central. This is the actual real thing. Kyle is no longer mad at me. He forgave me really quick.
It took a lot of talking. It was a lot of off hour,
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
hours off recording. So
The clock on the recording actually says 7 hours and 37 minutes.
could have been playing Halo, but I wanted to yell at you instead. What can I say?
Well, you could have been playing Gears actually,
Oh
but
wow. All
no.
right. You really want to get yelled at? Okay.
Hello, my name is Dan. This is my thing. This is where we talk about Final Fantasy generally, but today Kyle here and I are going to talk about something else. We're going to actually leave Japan and we're going to come back to America. And we're going to discuss an excellent game despite what some people for some reason now say. We just passed the 10-year anniversary actually of Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim, Kyle. 10
Yeah,
years.
I can actually hear people's like eyes rolling, but it's all love, man. I showed up to spread the love about this game.
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
pumped.
I mean,
It's
listen, I'm pretty sure I remember when that game was announced and it came out. Everyone was like crying tears of joy and excitement.
People
Everyone
were
was
naming their kids Dovahkiin
were
to
they?
win something. Remember that was a marketing like thing. Like
Sure.
if you name your kid Dovahkiin and can prove it, like I think they got free Bethesda games forever. I think that was like the deal, and like people actually did it. Like it's yeah, to say this game was like a cultural like moment is like an understatement, you know?
Well, hopefully those people that are getting free copies of whatever future games also have an Xbox. Am I right, Kyle? Huh?
Yeah,
Huh?
right. Yeah, that story changed a bit. And hey, what are the op chances that all the Dovahkiins marry all the Daenerys? You know, from like the Game of Thrones like
Hmm.
being named.
I don't know. Or maybe whoever the main character is, if there's some sort of like Destiny with Elder Scrolls 6, like some kind of, special character theme thing, maybe
Sure.
that
Yeah,
character, and
I'm
then
here
they
for it.
like get married and I don't know.
What a world we
And
live in.
and then that's actually Elder Scrolls 7.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Sure.
but we're gonna get some factoids out of the way, Kyle.
Cool.
We're gonna get some stuff out of the way before we just kind of say whatever, because you know what? Your toxic positivity is what we
It's so
need here
toxic.
today
Yeah.
because everyone wants to complain about things, and I think this game is still great. Obviously, it has issues. Every game does. Even the games that we consider perfect have issues. So
Yeah.
let's not kid ourselves.
Well,
But Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim initially came out, and this was a really cute date, Kyle. I don't know if you remember, on 11/11/11.
yeah, I remember. Yeah.
So a
Um,
bunch of ones all in a row.
all in a one because it's number one. That's why they
Yeah.
that's why they put all those ones on there.
Yeah, this game's at the top. It came from the bottom, and now we're here, or whatever
One
that.
of the worst engines ever created, but boy, what a game! Just what an excellent game.
Yeah, well, whatever. It's a cute date. I thought it was funny. It was fun.
I love it. Yeah, I remember the marketing again, like and it all like likened back to like the birthing of kids on that date and like naming their kids that and everything. Like the
Yeah,
marketing for this game was insane.
yeah,
And unlike a lot of like video game marketings, like they really just poured a lot of money into like just making sure that you knew they had live action trailers and all these ploys to name your kids Dovahkiin, and
That's
and
so
again, the
weird.
date itself, like, it's very clever, just like you'll
Yeah.
never forget that date. So it's like they really put
No.
their time in to like really weaponize their release on it.
Yeah, and you'll never forget, even though it was 10 years ago. So, like we said, it's the 10-year anniversary this past November 11th.
Mhm.
So this game came out originally on PC, 360, and PlayStation 3. So that's 2 gens ago.
Did it come out on PlayStation 3 though?
Yes, it did.
I know, but in the state that it was actually in for a long time, was it
Well,
actually on PS3?
it's so weird because I've been getting random memories because I had a PS3. I did not have a 360, obviously,
Yep.
because the Series S is my first Xbox. But yeah, I remember there being a memory issue where the save file, if it hit a certain amount of megabytes, that there was basically, because in the game you can literally pick up anything. So there's so many things happening in the game, and you can
Cyberpunk had this same exact issue just this was
Okay.
last year. Yeah, like that's why this sounds so familiar. If people are listening, is that like if your save point hit over a certain mega, like it would just crash your game.
Yeah,
before you
exactly.
could load it.
So that's what I remember. I remember that being a thing, and I think I remember actually hitting that point, and then they did patch it. But I remember that being kind of devastating because I was like just like balls deep, dude, in that game.
Were you playing it
Oh.
at launch on PS3 or?
Yes,
And it
yes.
worked for you,
Yeah.
for the most part. Because I
Yeah,
remember
from what I
hearing the
remember.
horror stories where it was like almost it was one of those like first like game stories that I remember that it was
Mhm.
it's almost unplayable. People like said that about Cyberpunk too, and
Sure.
a lot of us beat that game, and
Which
so
I
it was
barely had any issues, to be honest.
Same, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was playing on a PlayStation 4 Pro, so like
Right.
I wasn't playing on next gen or anything. So it's like I think that this is a similar situation where like you and lucky people had good experiences. But then you hear all the others where it's like it wouldn't even load up, backwards flying dragons, which I had on 360 too, mind you. Like that wasn't a PlayStation 3 thing itself, but like you always hear about like, well, the cell processor didn't really play nicely with like the engine, and it took years for that game to like actually quote unquote be playable or whatever. But it's nice to hear that like you actually had a pretty good experience overall in terms of how it played.
Yeah, I would say the worst thing was that memory issue with the save file, but I don't remember it being so egregious where it was like I can't even like having bad memories of the game. Like I don't have bad memories of the game. I've been playing video games since I was like 4 years old, so I'm kind of like one of these people that I've been playing games for so long that when those sort of things happen, I kind of just roll with the punches.
Dude,
I mean,
you warm my heart to hear that because that's exactly how I am.
Because it's like, yeah, it's frustrating, but like so are other things that actually matter. This is a video game, and yeah, I spent money on it, but like at the end of the day, it's still just a video game, and eventually it'll be fine. And express your frustration so they fix the issues, but don't let it consume your life.
It's okay to be vocal, but like don't give it so much power that it ruins your life.
Yes.
I totally agree with that philosophy, in terms of that game just being unplayable for so many people. Like there were people out there having a good time, but they probably just weren't saying much because they were playing the game, having a good time,
Right.
It comes back to that ratio of like more people will complain about something that they don't like rather than like lift something up that they do like, so
exactly. Same as people leaving reviews for things. It's usually going to be negative reviews because that's when somebody feels the need to say something as opposed to going out of their way to say something positive, right?
Why would we be nice to each other? Like, who cares,
I don't know, Kyle. I don't know.
Society sucks, whatever.
It does. But at least we have Skyrim. We have a fake society that we can live in.
Yeah, the people in Skyrim are really nice, usually, kinda. Depending on, I guess, what race you are and what.
Yeah.
Wait, it is like real life crap.
Yeah, exactly.
What's some other factoids though? I know you probably had a.
So 10-year anniversary. The game, and the joke is obviously, which is why people seem so cynical about it now, is like, oh, this game's released like 30 times. Actually, Skyrim has released 7 times in the last 10 years. So not an egregious amount. And technically some of those versions are like not even like it's like VR, for example.
Yeah.
So I'll go down the timeline here, Kyle.
Please do.
So in 2011, that's when Skyrim initially released. And then in 2013, we had the Skyrim Legendary Edition. That included all 3 of the DLCs, which were Dawnguard, Hearthfire, and Dragonborn.
I know we'll get into it, but some of the best DLCs ever.
See,
any game, period.
This is actually the first time because I kind of stumbled into the Dawn Guard DLC by accident.
Uh-huh.
I had never bought. I did not buy the DLCs originally,
Oh,
so I had not
boy.
experienced them. So I'm dealing with vampires right now. It's pretty
You're
cool.
in for a treat, and make sure you see that through because vampires are killing people in towns you haven't even visited yet right now,
Yeah,
and
I
they're
remember
just
you telling
destroying
me that. And I
missions
was
for
like,
you. Yeah.
oh, I was
Yeah,
like, oh, I
so
don't
like
like
this,
that.
yeah, no, it's not great. Well, dragons are doing the same thing, so don't like,
Sure.
don't overthink it too much. But like, yeah, finish that Dawn Guard stuff. I'm telling you, like, some of these DLCs are better than the actual story of the game.
Yeah.
It's very Witcher vibes. If because
Okay.
Witcher had the same thing where when people beat Witcher and they played the DLC, people were like, well, I think I like the DLC better. It's kind of the same
Okay.
vibes there, yeah.
Awesome. Well, then I look forward to following through with the massacre of those vampires because I'm actually a werewolf right now, first
Oh,
time.
Blood
So
Feud.
that's pretty cool. Yes, Blood Feud,
Hype,
exactly.
man.
So 3 years after the Legendary Edition in 2016, we had the Skyrim Special Edition. So that was a remastered version that was on what was it, PS4, Xbox One. Included all the DLCs and a graphical upgrade.
Substantial.
So
I would say it looked like it did whenever it launched on the PC, which like the
yeah,
differences between those two were vast, so
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, certainly the engine is what it is, and the game moves and feels the way that it is. But it definitely, yeah, it definitely graphically, if you put side by side, you would see probably some differences. I would say for sure,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the
for
console
sure.
version. And I would say the same like with this next one that we'll get to, the one we're
Yeah,
playing now. It's just like what?
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I can't believe this game came out 10 years ago.
And then the year after that, 2017, we had the Switch version, so you could explore Skyrim on the go. So that's pretty
And
cool.
did you dabble or no?
No,
I,
no,
I
no.
I checked it out just because I wanted to see how it ran. It ran really
Mm.
good on the Switch. So I know it's not as like impressive as like The Witcher, not to mention that again, but like it was still like, wow, this is a really big game that they really have running properly on this small little handheld.
Yeah,
This
that they
is
squeeze into that tiny cartridge.
oh, how do you do it? It's
I don't know.
just
Sorcery,
black
Kyle.
Nintendo sorcery. Yeah.
It's just sorcery. Same as with Witcher. I don't understand
I
how
don't.
Witcher
I will
works.
never understand how they got The Witcher doing. I know people like to crap all over how it looks. Yeah, it looks awful. It's not a PlayStation 4, it's a
Sure.
Switch. The fact that they have it on that little tiny screen,
Yeah.
like playing in hand, like it's crazy to me. And it's not like a frame rate mess, like
Yeah.
it's actually a playable game. I don't know. They're doing something
It's
weird over at Nintendo.
it's definitely very impressive for sure. Same year, 2017. So this is where it kind of beefs up the numbers of how many releases there's been for Skyrim. So in 2017, same year as the Switch, we had the Skyrim VR, the first VR experience, which was on the PlayStation VR. And then 2018, the year later, I would say arguably better VR experiences because HTC Vive and Oculus Rift are better VR
If
machines
I
than the
could get
PlayStation
Skyrim
VR.
on my Oculus, because I haven't tried yet, I would lose my mind. I think so.
Well, it came out 3 years ago, Kyle. So
I'm gonna have to check it out. Yeah, that's
yeah.
because I haven't. I don't know. There's something about the PlayStation and it being like wired still that like I flail too
Mhm.
much to have like wires coming like from every
Yeah.
direction off of me.
No, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I don't know. That's pretty awesome. Just imagine like looking around in this world. That sounds even like with the graphics the way that they are, like as they were, like it would still be pretty immersive. Your brain's really dumb, like in VR. Like it starts thinking things are real very quickly.
Yeah. Well, that's always been like when I thought about VR, like being like, with the PlayStation VR and it kind of becoming more prolific. I was like, this would be the kind of experience, like these kind of games is what I want for VR. So I think it's definitely perfect for sure.
Yeah, big time.
And then fast forward 3 years later to today is the one that we're playing, the Skyrim Anniversary Edition, a compilation including all of the content from Special Edition, over 500 Creation Club elements, and introducing the ability to fish and player-owned aquariums, Kyle. So lots of fishy stuff. So that's cool.
Super excited about. I didn't even know you can own an aquarium. That's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to figure that out so I can start doing that.
Yeah. The Creation Club elements, that's mods, right?
It's mods, so it's weapons, shields, armor, a couple of missions which I have done, which are very fun. These are like handpicked by Bethesda by modders. Made by modders, handpicked by Bethesda, and Bethesda's like, this is lore now. Yeah, we're accepting this into the main game, and they're in the game now. You still have to download them and kind of attach them, but like they are like Bethesda recognized content. And some of the stuff's really good. You know, I got approached by a courier, and he's like, "Hey, I got this like letter for you." And it's written by some crazy lady who's like, "Hey, I'm the greatest warrior to ever live, and I heard you're the current greatest warrior to ever live, and I kind of want to like figure out which one of us is better. And if you kill me, you can have my entire Viking longhouse."
Oh, I just got that actually. Yeah.
Yeah, go do that. It's great.
Yeah.
I went over there and killed her so horribly,
Oh, absolutely.
and now I have this amazing house that like I never had in the original game. I
Yeah.
spent 20 hours building a house out of materials, like in like the special edition or whatever, or in the original game, not even the special edition. You can like this, like the DLC or the mods, like they just give you houses now, which is great because like while building a house is like in its own way kind of like oh, I feel good about like over so much time like building this out of like raw materials. It's also 20 hours of you collecting materials and just like
no, that sounds like a pain.
It is, yeah. So it's nice they just give you ones that you can kind of enjoy and have a space to call your own.
Especially that one, because that one like not only does look cool, it looks definitely very Viking-esque.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the inside, but it's like it's full of just stuff too.
Yeah, it's got tons of stuff, you know. So even if you're not a alchemist or you're not a whatever, like you can just pick up all that stuff and go and sell it, you know. You know, if you don't cook, you can take all the food and go sell it, you know. It's a nice little cash crop, you know. But it's also just a nice place to like store your items and like just
and
like
display them too.
Call your own plays. Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Like the mannequins, you can display some like unique armor sets. There's actually down in the basement. There's actually like the head busts for those specific masks, those unique masks that you find.
That's cool.
That's all just kind of being able to. Yes, yeah. So you can store that all down there. Yeah, it's a super cool house.
Yeah, I'm super into that. So like little mods like that, I think just kind of enrich the experience. You know, there's another one where it's like, hey, there's this necromancer and he's just raising the dead and he's building an army, and it's like that's all like this letter tells you, and it's like okay, so you go over there and that's exactly what's happening, and you have to like fight your way through a bunch of undead to like get the necromancer who's doing all this, and like it ends up being in this like kind of epic boss fight or whatever. Yeah. But like you know, like this game is so good at like with like it making you feel like you're always on a journey, no matter what you're doing. Like it just feels like you're on some epic, like Lord of the Rings quest, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
And this is no different. Like you're scaling your way up a mountain. You're kind of fighting your way through stuff. You're kind of like you know, existing in the elements, and then you get to like the main event or whatever, and it's just great, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like those moments, you know, to get a little, I guess, further into some of the mainer beats of the story. Like, have you recently gotten to the point where you go to the mountain to like go talk to the Greybeards and all that stuff? Have you done that, or are you pretty distracted by side stuff?
So in my original playthrough, I remember being more staying along the quest, but like doing side quests also. I haven't even gotten up to the Greybeards yet. I've been bouncing around.
Respect.
Do you know how many hours you're into this file? Do you know how many hours you're in so far?
Oh, in this run, I'm probably like 26 or 27 hours. I played a lot. I'm like level 24. You know, I'm pretty far through that story because I'm doing a little bit of the story and a little bit of the side quest, kind of in tandem. And trying to focus on like the mods and like the new quest, because this would be like my 6th time playing through this. Like I've probably put like 1,200 hours into this game, like collectively. Like it's just one of those games I just can't quit. And every once in a while it'll re-release like on Switch and I'll dump 100 more hours into it, you know. And I'm like, I didn't mean to. I just wanted to see how it played on here, you know. Like it's just I'm just held hostage by this game, you know. But yeah, I'm at about 26 hours, I would say, in this playthrough. And I did go to the Greybeards, but like just kind of bring up, if you remember from your original play, just getting to that mountain and getting to like finally finding the path up the mountain and like that town that's sitting down there, and they're like, yeah, the Greybeards are up there, and there's just something so like your whole body exhales. You're like, oh my god, I found this, you know. It's just because the game doesn't really tell you where to go up the mountain. It just shows you that you need to go up to the peak of the mountain.
So the way that Skyrim, or I guess Elder Scrolls, or did Oblivion do it the same way, where it had sort of like the compass thing at the top? I can't remember.
Yes, Oblivion was much. Oblivion and Skyrim are the same exact game, and people forget about that. People like to forget that like Oblivion really crawled so this game could run, so Skyrim could run. Whereas Morrowind, it would just be like, you need to go northeast down the West River bank. when the sun is shining at a certain hour, the cave will be revealed, and then there's no waypoint, and you have to show up at the right time to the right place, and it's just like, wow,
that's too much. That's too much in that direction.
That's how we used to play games, though. Like now, everything has GPS in games now, and mission markers.
Yeah, I mean that's a.
But I don't have time for that. Like I just
exactly.
Yeah,
it's the right balance for what people's lives are. I would say even somebody that has the time to dive into these things, and usually I don't know if you can in Skyrim, but I mean some games allow you to turn that off.
Yeah,
they added a survival mode. So I know
where the temperature affects you and you have to eat and drink, and I don't think there are waypoints in that. I think you really have to kind of find your way around and everything.
Yeah.
So.
But the way that Skyrim does exploring is like as far as like the style of game, like kind of like an open world RPG like that. It's kind of like with Breath of the Wild. People like praise Breath of the Wild for kind of being like just choose the direction to go in and you're gonna find like 15 awesome crazy things.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, Skyrim came out before Breath of the Wild, and that's actually what it does.
Well, we still use the term that Todd Howard said, like when people are describing their games. Todd Howard, when he was showing off Skyrim, if you remember this classic line he said, he goes, "You see that mountain? You can go to that mountain."
Yeah.
And that's the whole entire experience of this game. If you can see it, you can go to it. And like to this day, people do that. They're like, "You see that tower?
Yeah.
Go to that tower." You know, like it's just like it's a kind of a marketing joke now, you know. But like he coined that entire experience, and not to say that like Skyrim was the very first game to ever have this like gigantic open world, but like it literally everything you see you can go to in this game. So if something like, hey, was that a collapsed bridge over there? 9 out of 10, there's probably going to be a mission over there with some weird NPC who's like, oh, some witch blew this bridge up, and you know, I praise Red Dead Redemption 2 a lot for these like random events or these like this occupied world or whatever, but like Skyrim is just as alive and just as random and just as crazy and stuff like that, you know? So it's like, you know, it was doing this 10 years ago where I don't know if I'd ever played a game where it felt like I was actually existing in a world that was living and breathing. I think like we were almost there a few times, but I think Skyrim was the very first time I was like, this is it, guys. Like we're occupying a real simulated space right now. And that's when it goes back to like your save, size problem. You can pick up everything in this game. Like
literally everything.
This is not like just any other open world RPG where you're just like, I exist in a space or whatever, like Infamous. Like you're not picking up spoons in Infamous, you know, like that's not something you're doing. But that's something you can do. You could pick up wheels of cheeses in this game, you know, like
so much cheese, Kyle.
So much cheese, so much bread, you know? These people, how are they not so fat with all these carbs and dairy?
And also, like, you go into these catacombs and these dungeons, and, like, all the food just looks, like, clean for the most part.
Oh,
like,
yeah, what's that all about?
Everything
with a skeleton right next to there who's, like, got a note who's like, I died 100 years ago. Perfect cheese right next to him, you know? It's like, okay.
Must be
you know,
nice.
There's goofy stuff like that. And I love, what's that meme where it's like, if I die, I'm gonna die in a bathtub, so I can become like a Fallout like side story or environmental storytelling or whatever.
Sure.
Bethesda's great at that. Like they're just good at like you walk into a situation, there's already dead bodies there, and there's a note there that's like, I had to kill my friends.
Yeah.
The voices were talking, and you're like, what is this about?
And you pick up some cursed item, and now like suddenly you're cursed, and you're like, well, what am I supposed to do?
And a mission just pops, and now like a demonic dog is talking to you and telling you have to follow it. Like it's just, like. The Bethesda has always been great at that, but Skyrim, I think they're at their best with this because, like, I don't know if you remember, there's infinite missions in this. So if you go to like any Jarl in any town and go, hey, I need work, they're like, okay, there's these bandits over here doing this, and there's a whole story that's randomized every time. Maybe they're vampires, maybe they're orcs, you know, maybe they're this or that or whatever, but it's totally random every time. So like you can literally play one character forever. And never like keep on. Maybe you're repeating areas that you're going into. Obviously, there's only so many dungeons, but like the reason you're in that dungeon again is completely different. So it's like, give it up for the game design in this. Like, the engine sucks and it crashes all the time because of the amount of freedom. But like there are some really interesting game mechanics going on here.
So that I did want to bring up because obviously, you know. As much as obviously we clearly both enjoy the game, like, so when you were mentioning going up to the Greybeards and just kind of like the vibes and kind of like, especially like I love moving around this world at nighttime.
Yeah.
because the sky is, especially on this version, like on the PS5, it is beautiful.
The skybox is out of this world, man.
Yeah,
It's
the
insane.
stars, there's like 2 moons off in the distance. Like,
Hmm.
so imagine climbing up to Greybeards. It's nighttime. You're up on like the high, I think it's the highest peak in the
It
game,
is. Yep.
is
Yep.
where the Greybeards are, looking up at the night sky. It's beautiful. But then, you have these people that are cynical about the game. And I think to be fair, like, yeah, like Bethesda's known for having wonky engines, of course, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
for sure.
Fallout certainly was wonky also. Um, I mean, the physics, like you said, you can pick up anything in the game, so that's insane. So it's like,
Including bodies. You can pick up
yeah,
bodies and just throw them and drag
yeah,
them. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like a trade-off, right? Because it's like you have so much going on in this game, and like people will argue, it's like, well, yeah, in other games too, but it's like,
Not like this though.
it's semantics, because it's like, sure, like
Yeah.
there's just so much you can do, and then the trade-off is like, yeah, like the game sometimes struggles. You can see an NPC, they say something to you and they start walking off in a direction, and maybe they kind of like stop for a second and like take a couple steps back awkwardly, and then they kind of continue walking, or they'll like almost like freeze for a bit.
Yeah,
So
well,
like,
that
there's just
famous
so much
like
going on.
TikToker who does like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Skyrim yeah,
yeah.
it's become a meme at this point for sure.
Yeah.
You know.
But again, it's like it's a 10-year-old game. Bethesda is, I guess, just kind of generally known for not having. If you're gonna look at the spectrum of engines of games out there, it's
Yeah.
not the best. But again, there's just so much going on behind the scenes.
There really is.
It's
Well,
just, yeah,
people are, and I know this isn't new to games, but like people are on like schedules, you know, like you can only find certain people at
yes,
certain times doing certain things because they have jobs to go to, or maybe they're going shopping, or maybe
yeah,
it's Sunday, so they're at home with the family, you know, like it's like there's think of all that math going on in the background, all
right.
that like
And
calculations
characters
and
maybe
stuff.
bumping into each other that the game
Yeah.
can't really compensate for. Like, it's not gonna be like, because like say you step in front of a character and you
Mhm.
like block them from going somewhere, you technically just threw off the algorithm going on in the background.
Oh,
because
yeah.
you just blocked that character, or you had a conversation with, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
now
like,
their schedule's behind, you know?
yes,
Like, again, their program scheduled to be wherever they're going
yeah,
to be next. Like, you stopped and talked to them for 20 minutes about, like, bread or whatever, whatever
yes,
you talk to
exactly.
these characters about.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know.
these are all the things that are happening in the background, and just like, again, the people that are cynical, it's like, yeah, the game's broken, it's wonky. It's like, well, yeah, sure, but like, again, like you can talk about the most perfect games in the world that people consider perfect, and it's like you
Yeah,
can find flaws with those games too. So it's
sure.
about perspective,
Well, and you know, like, I always have, Bethesda games classically have those, like, oh, you know, I show up to the quest area and the quest just doesn't continue, you know,
Sure, sure.
or the item that's supposed to be there isn't in the satchel, which happens all the time in Skyrim.
Or
It's
my
just like
companion somehow disappeared.
yeah, or my
like,
companion disappears or something, you
yeah,
know, and like that happens in like almost every open world game.
yeah,
Like, seriously, like it happened in Cyberpunk to me, like where it's just like, hey, the item is supposed to be here on this table. Well, it's not. It didn't load in. And it's like, well, sorry, you can't finish that mission then. That's okay. Well, I'm used to this. You know, I've played
yeah,
that Bethesda game, you know, but like, again, that's not a Bethesda issue. That's like kind of an open world issue. Think of
yeah.
the QA testing that has to go into, like, 'cause
It's impossible to catch
it is
everything.
literally impossible to
It's
think of
impossible.
every single variable that's happening,
Yeah.
you know, and I know that people just I bought the thing, I want it to work. I scream about this all the time, like, I just want the thing that I bought to work, you know, maybe not video game related, but just
Sure.
electronics, anything related. But the
Sure.
idea, at the end of the day, like, humans are error-filled beings, and we make error-filled things. Like, that's
Yes.
that's kind of what it
Exactly.
is, and get used to it, guys. I know there's going to be glitches in every game forever. Like, there's not going to be a game ever that comes out that's perfect. Ever. It's
No.
never going to happen. Like,
Just like the
ever.
Matrix. The Matrix gets glitched sometimes.
Yeah,
and,
sometimes a cat comes by again and agents show up. You never know, you know?
yeah.
Like,
And then Keanu Reeves like is just suddenly older and has a beard, and we're wondering what the hell's going on. I mean, seriously, that movie looks awesome. You know?
Yeah, I just can't. My heart's like skipping beats just thinking about it right now. Like, we're 2 weeks away from that. Ugh.
I actually, the side note, I completely forgot it's going to be on HBO Max. As
Yeah.
much as I do want to see it in the theater, I think I'm just gonna watch it at home. I got a 65-inch TV. It's gorgeous.
Same. I got
like,
a really nice system. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sneak watch it like when it comes out in the morning, and then pretend with all the people I'm gonna go
Sure.
see it with the next day that it's the first time I've seen it.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
is this live? Are we on a show?
Yeah, sure. I
don't
can just,
listen. Don't worry.
I can just
about
cut that out. I can just cut that out.
No, it's fine. Yeah, that's my plan though. I'm gonna watch it twice
Yeah.
for the first day it comes out because
Absolutely.
sign me up, man.
Yeah, it's gonna
But
be
yeah,
awesome.
I don't know. I feel like when Oblivion came out, I don't games, of course weren't as popular. Games got more and more popular. We hit like this like point in gaming where like every year gamers like
bigger
doubled.
games.
Yeah, just bigger games, more people, just more people enjoying video games and stuff. So when Oblivion came out, it was still kind of like this, like, oh wow, this is like handholdy, like Morrowind. I remember a lot of people calling it that or whatever. But like it was still a game that a lot of people appreciated. I also remember there was only like 3 voice actors in the whole game, so like everybody voiced everybody in that game. Yeah. And it was problematic, which they fixed in Skyrim, which is why I bring it up. I think that even though Skyrim is a lot like Oblivion, the quality of life changes in that game are so above and beyond. I mean,
that's a lot to ask for. I mean, considering how many people are meandering around in this world that you can talk to literally any of them.
People. Yeah, you're talking like thousands of them,
Yeah.
And they're all, again, on their own schedule, doing their own thing. And to talk about, like, dragons are attacking other towns while you're screwing around in a catacomb. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you could show up to a town and a main mission giver just be lying dead in the middle of, like, City Square. And you're like, okay, well, I guess I'm not talking to that guy anymore.
Not fair. Not fair.
It's not fair, and while no like main mission can ever be locked out of, which you could in Morrowind. I remember my favorite thing to do in Morrowind was run right to the first city and kill the like emperor, and it's just like you can't even finish the game anymore. Like it's totally broken.
Just meander around for thousands of hours.
That was the point about that game, though. Like it didn't matter what you were doing. You were just existing in a world. But I get those feelings still. And I like that there is direction if you want to follow like certain story threads and stuff. And I feel that there's a camp out there that's like, oh, I long for the days of Morrowind. I'm like, show me the time that you have to play a game like that today.
No.
You would have to ignore every other game that came out that year. Like you would have to take a year off just to play a game like that.
Yeah. No, that's too much that's too much in that direction where it's like that's just too tedious. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, now you're playing like a survival game, pretty much.
Right?
Like
exactly.
you're just playing like a simulation survival. But
I was gonna say because you were mentioning a second ago about like the game being popular and growing and so on and so forth. Do you know about the Skyrim grandma?
Yeah. Oh, it's big time.
Yeah, they made
stuff.
There's like a mod. There's like a whole mod surrounding her where there's actually a quest line. I think she can be a companion, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, and she is going to be in Elder Scrolls 7 as a like created like Bethesda in the game, not a mod. So or 6. What are we on?
6. Okay.
6. Whatever. Yeah. I'm skipping. We're skipping 6. We're going straight to 7.
Yeah. You don't even need 6.
And Elder Scrolls 6, which I don't know where that's going to take place. I know everyone thinks that they know. Because, I don't know.
Based off of that one little snippet of like
I don't know.
environment or something. I don't know. But that's super cool though.
I think so too. Yeah. I think that like I remember the popularity of her growing like years ago, and just suddenly like people were just. And I know that she stopped for a little bit because she was being bullied because the world is not just and everyone sucks. But like she had stopped streaming for a little bit, but like the outcry of people who loved watching her like brought her back to like streaming again. So
she VO'd. She VO'd her character.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's awesome. So like for the mod, that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, the mod. Yeah, because like she has a home. Like I think I was watching it on YouTube, the video of it. And,
is that not part of the legendary or whatever edition we're playing?
I'm not 100% sure. I think it is.
You suck, bro. You need to add this so us console players can play.
I think it is a unique mod that you have to download, but I just think it's super cool that like these people made the mod. They asked her to do the VO for it. So yeah, there's unique dialogue. It's straight up Skyrim grandma.
The wholesomeness of this whole story is just the best. It outweighs all the crappy stuff that kind of try to sneak into the story. But like, I think that like. I just remember like her chats being super full. I was never in them. I never watched her stream or anything like that. But I just remember the lore behind Skyrim Grandma being just like super super popular.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, big time.
So Kyle, What are some specifics for you in Skyrim? Like, do you have any sort of favorite race or like a build type of weapons? Like, what do you like to do? What's your
Dan, I'm a
deal?
really boring guy. So whenever I play an RPG, I just want to be me. So I make a white dude with a beard and brown hair. If I could put some
Sure,
glasses on him, great, I will. Like
sure,
I just make me because like I just want to be the dude existing in this world, and it helps
of
my
course.
immersion and stuff like that. So like I'm not
Hmm.
the guy who makes a girl or a hot sexy elf or whatever. Like I don't do
Sure.
that. For Skyrim, I actually like playing as a Nord because, like, especially because now I played the game so many times, like, it kind of fits that, like, I'm native because I
Hmm.
put 1,000 hours in this game. I know every square inch of this this world.
Yeah.
So, but this time I actually went with Breton because I wanted to do
Okay.
a magic build, which I never do. My
Okay.
go-to is to always do kind of like sword, heavy armor.
Yeah.
I'm making a berserk character. I'm making
Ah.
guts. Pretty much. I want to do double bladed sword. I want to do heavy armor.
Yes.
But I want to like maximize my speed too. So like I'm really fast. I hit really hard, but also
Hmm.
I'm at the maximum amount of damage output and damage input. So,
Yes.
but this time I just wanted to be a fluffy, squishy mage guy. So I went with that. I've been in a big RPG mage mood like for the last 2 years now, where anytime I play an
Okay.
RPG now, I've been tanks my entire RPG career.
Sure.
Let me switch it up a little bit. And I'm really enjoying that. I think Bretons are really nice. It also feeds into the story of Skyrim. Bretons and magic users aren't trusted in Skyrim. Like Nords don't
Right.
like magic. They're like, oh, that's weird to me.
Because they have Winterhold.
Yeah,
People are skeptical about
yeah, and
like
people
that kind
don't
of
like it.
stuff.
People like, yeah, Winterhold is kind of like isolated and stuff like that. And just Nords don't like magic. Like that's kind of like their
Right.
jam. So like being a Breton. Which, by the way, I hope that this plays more into six. Like, I feel like once you pick your race and everything like that, like it hardly ever comes into play
Sure.
ever
Other than someone
in any of these
acknowledging,
games.
like, oh, hey,
Maybe be like, "Hey, I see you're a Nord," or something. It's
yes.
like, all right, whatever. But I would love to be able it to like echo through more I don't know, like consequences, like in playthroughs
Right.
like later. But I do really like the extra kind of conversations you get by being a Breton in this world. So that's
Yeah.
been really fun. But yeah, usually with these I go Nord, I go a human character of some sort, white Caucasian male, straight male.
Sure.
So
Sure. It's safe that way.
it's
It's safe.
safe. I feel safe
Safe.
being me. But what about you? Are you more of a fantasy guy where you're like, I just want to be
Um.
someone else, or what do you usually do? Do you have a go-to kind of class that you usually do with these type of games, or
So
are you doing
this
something
is
different this time?
this is I remember because I upgraded on the PS5 version to the anniversary edition, so I had the special edition. I think I had started a second playthrough, just didn't get super far. So this is actually like my third playthrough where I'm actually at about 60 hours. So I've definitely been playing longer this time. The first time I think I was a Nord. This time I went Dark Elf.
Oh, I
So I
love that.
went.
Oh, I remember you saying that. Is that the Thalmor, right? Or is the Thalmor the regular elf?
I don't know. I
I
don't
think the
remember.
Thalmor is Dark Elf. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm Dark
Did
Elf
you
this
say you're
time just
60
because.
hours in?
Yeah, 60 hours.
60 hours in and haven't been to the great. I love this is Skyrim, baby. Like
Yes, exactly.
you're living the best Skyrim life right now where
Yeah.
someone told you, "Hey, you need to go to the Greybeards. The
Nah.
world depends on it." You're like, "Nah, man,
Nah.
I'm going to go fight vampires."
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. No, I'm gonna go fight this random broad who's gonna give
I
me a
love
super
it.
cool
That's
house.
amazing.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm sorry to
No, no,
interrupt.
no.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No,
That's amazing.
it is. It is. And yeah, Dark Elf. I'm doing the battle mage thing like I did my first time because I like the balance of it. I am definitely leaning a little more melee this time. I think
Mhm.
when I had initially played it, I used a decent amount more magic. I do like to focus on restoration though,
Yeah.
because healing's pretty important. Even though I pick up literally every potion I come across, just in case.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes you can be overwhelmed in this game. When you're in a dungeon, you walk into a room, and like you said, there could be a necromancer in there. He just like summons like six dudes or
Yeah.
whatever, and it can quickly, depending on what they're casting on you or what's going on, like you can get kind of overwhelmed quickly.
I'm so used to having heavy armor playing the squishy build I'm playing right now. I'm
Yeah,
dying more than I've ever died ever in this game. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
this game's hard now. Like, wow.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it can get really humbling really quickly, especially because you just get 6 guys on you or 4 guys on you, like, and they surround you. Like it can go south very quickly.
Yeah. And that
Which
feeds
is
into the
cool.
wonkiness of the game, though. Which
Yeah.
again, it's like I kind of just like I take it as it is. It's not something that bothers me, but like you can go in for like the power attack. So I use predominantly two-handed weapons. So I go in with like the two-handed sword, and I go to do like a power strike. And like if you're winding up for it, if the enemy starts wandering off to the left or the right, like you're just gonna miss completely. And the animation's
Yeah.
pretty slow.
It is, yeah.
So you could just end up spending all that stamina swinging at them, and you completely miss them because it's like it's a mixture of kind of the wonkiness of the animation, plus the enemy kind of just like happening. They just happen to move to the left or right, and just you missed entirely. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a give and take. So and that's actually why it's good to have companions also, because they can at least kind of
They're very
it
important.
compensates a little bit.
Helps with the weight carrying and stuff like that.
Yes, I do
I
like
like that you can.
Lydia.
I never use anybody but Lydia. So she's your first and your last if you're good at the game. So
I love that every like 4th or 5th time that you ask her to hold something, she says, I'm sworn to carry your
well, I'm
burdens."
swore to carry, and it's so passive aggressive. And
Like my wife
I
comments.
always give her the necklace and mirror, and I always marry that bitch. You know
There
why?
you go.
Because
There you go.
she fights back. She's like,
Yeah.
you don't want me to carry this? Okay. Why don't you
Yeah.
carry? I don't know. I love her whole attitude.
Yeah.
I think she's super strong. She's super awesome. She's just another, heavy armor.
Yeah.
Usually dual sword. I think you can give her a sword and a shield too. I think that's what
Yeah.
she starts. But like
Yeah,
she's
she starts with,
she's more predominant with like a two-handed weapon, and like she's my tank, dude. Like she's the
Yeah.
only thing getting me through many fights, to the point where there's some story missions where it's like you can't have a companion here. I'm like, I don't know what to do right now, because I lean so heavily on Lydia like saving me, because she's my big strong lady,
Yeah. Big
that
strong
like
Nord.
yeah, my big strong Nord lady. I get flustered like when she's not
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, the companions are important. So it's all about balance. You can, yeah, the game's wonky, whatever, but like you can sort of combat that. You have
Well,
a companion,
and
and
I had a similar, and I don't know if you remember my like gripes about Cyberpunk when I was trying to elevate it probably further than it deserved to be last year during Game of the Award season. But like I remember like everyone kind of on the panel kind of being like, oh, well, like Cyberpunk's like boring because like I chose a shooter and I just shoot.
Sure.
And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, the game is as interesting as you want to make it to be. And,
Right.
and this goes for Skyrim, too, like, if you just want to be, like, just a sword guy, and you're just doing kind of these, like, heavy, like, weird kind of jilted animations, I mean, yeah, that might get boring after a little while. But, like, you choose a mage, and suddenly you can have different, magics in different hands. Maybe you do, like, you're talking like a battle mage where you have a sword in one hand, a magic in the other
Yes,
hand.
exactly.
Now you have a lot of hot spots on your favorites menu where you're switching
Yep.
between magic. I'm switching to restoration. I'm switching to this.
Yep.
Hey, you could be a blacksmith. Like you
Yeah.
are creating that boringness for you. To
Right.
Not to be rude, but like that's like, if you find these games like boring, like well, this is just like a weird hack and slash, or this is just a shooter in terms of like Cyberpunk or whatever. It's like you're creating that boredom for yourself. Like you need to choose to go outside the box a little bit and like, hey, I want to be an apothecary. I want to walk up to every bush and like eat it. And if I get poisoned, like you get experience for that. Like
Right.
you're filling out like what different things have different effects for, so you can start blending things and making potions. Or maybe you're a blacksmith and like, hey, like before I start creating this stuff, I have to go to my house and put on like my blacksmith armor that gives me percentages to buff my blacksmithing. Drink a blacksmithing potion, put a necklace on that buffs my blacksmithing. And now suddenly you're creating things that like send people to the moon when you hit them, because like you can really game like the blacksmithing and like the enchanting and stuff like that to the point where it breaks the game in like really fun and funny ways.
Yeah.
But the game gives you what you put into it,
Yeah.
And so when you got people out there who are like, well, the combat's boring and yeah, it's just really glitchy, and like you're not looking deep enough into like what this game has to offer. It's an abyss that's echoing back at you every time you scream into it. But like it just, you have to kind of put into it what you want to get out of it.
Yeah.
So and it's not for everybody,
These
and when people talk about, well, I was just so overwhelmed when I started Skyrim. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. that feeling is correct. You know,
Yeah.
it is a very overwhelming game. Even when I started at this playthrough, I'm just like, okay, so am I just gonna go straight to Whiterun, or what am I doing here? You know, like it's
That's
like
usually the go-to, right?
you have to. Yeah, I feel weird not like at least talking to the Jarl there.
Yeah.
First and getting that first, like, you know, so you can start getting your shouts and stuff like that. You got to at least fight that first dragon.
Yes, absolutely.
But like, it's just one of those things like where that's the point. Like, it's supposed to feel like you just entered a world and you can go in any direction and find something to do, and like that's crippling to people. And I get that. I totally get it. Yeah. And you know, I'll die on the hill that this game's not for everybody. But I'll also die on the hill that this game is actually one of the greatest games ever created, just because of its depth, because of its audacity to have so many moving mechanics and so many moving things. I mean, like, really, you could make this game and just have all the NPCs just standing in the same place, and like it would still feel as deep. But like, no, they're like, no, we're gonna have them give schedules, and we're gonna have them do this. Yeah. I mean, think about JRPGs when you go there. Like, maybe sometimes you see NPCs like walking in a straight line to like something and then turning around and walking back. But they're never like going home and like cooking dinner, and you know, like, but they're doing that in this game. Yeah. My favorite meme I shared the other day was like, sometimes you're returning a quest to somebody, but they're asleep because it's night.
Right, and so then you wake them up, and they're like, they slowly get up.
Break into their house and wake them up, and they have to like go through the wake up animation and get up, and they're like, what? Like, I don't know.
I hope in 6 that they're a little more like angry about that.
I
like,
wish. Same here. What are you doing in my house?
I want them to get pissed at me. Like, start swinging as they get up, like.
I have so many expectations for 6 that they're unrealistic, and I just stop thinking about it at this point.
Hey, they got that Xbox money now, Kyle.
It better be literally the most ambitious game. Like Starfield, I feel like it's gonna come out. We're gonna be like, yeah, I mean that felt like a Fallout game, you know, or it felt like
it could be a mix. You see, I feel like Starfield is actually gonna be the most ambitious, because to me that has the potential to be like No Man's Sky mixed with like Fallout.
And I hope so. I think about it being pre-Microsoft. So like,
sure.
And maybe like they came through and were like, here's a lot more money, make it more ambitious. Like that totally could have happened. But I think about that timing where they're just like, we just have to make another Bethesda game. And I'm like, oh, it's going to be a really, really, really good like Skyrim or Fallout or whatever. But Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be the game that's like Microsoft's like, hey, here's $1 billion.
Here's all of the money.
Here's $100 million, whatever made up number, you know.
Whatever they gave Halo, right?
Make the great, whatever. Yeah, the Germans gave Halo for their budget or whatever the rumor is going on with that.
$17 trillion.
Exactly. Where's the money, Microsoft? Like give them that money, and because like I think that like, and people love to make fun of Todd Howard now, like, oh, he's such a blowhard and stuff like that. And I'm like,
he is, but
he's also a freaking visionary, you know. Like this guy, like this guy wants to make good games, and like, you know, he would stop putting out Elder Scrolls 6 or 5 Skyrim if you guys would stop buying it. People like you and me. People like you and me.
Maybe 6 will come out faster if they stop releasing 5 and we keep buying it. So
it's the same thing when people are like, when's GTA 6 coming out? I'm like, whenever you guys stop spending money on GTA Online, that's when GTA 6 comes out.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to ask you, Kyle, a bit of a controversial topic.
Oh boy.
So Skyrim is one of these games where there's a lot of glitches, like just kind of, things getting wonky, whatever. Some of those glitches are hilarious. Ragdoll effects,
so good.
You see off in the distance,
like carcasses tumble down a hill. Like I could watch that all day. It's great.
Or a troll in the distance like whack something, and it actually, it was hilarious. So I was walking along with Lydia and my horse. And the dragon came down from the sky, landed in front of the troll, started fighting the troll. My horse felt like he was going to be able to take on the dragon.
Nice.
So my horse ran towards the dragon, somehow ran up its tail. The dragon lifted off into the sky.
Oh, my God.
And my horse was on it while it was flying.
Yes.
And then the horse launched off the dragon when it took a certain turn. And it was just fine. The horse wasn't even dead. It was like...
Well, and this is a perfect example of that looked weird, but isn't that part of the charm
of
these
awesome.
Games? I think that's part of the charm is when you open a door and there's an NPC there and they go flying across the town in the most unrealistic way possible, and you're just like, fuck it, I'm playing a Bethesda game.
It literally doesn't bother me at all. I laugh immediately and it's amazing. I love it.
I think it's super great, and I
I
love
love
those
it.
moments where, like, I think you were describing earlier, like a troll hitting something and that
Yeah,
thing flying like 1,000 feet
yeah,
in the
yeah.
air. Who cares? Oh, I don't know. It's so unreal. Who cares, man? What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah, I'm Dragonborn. I'm shouting at people and like whatever.
you're,
Like, just shut up.
you're
Like, you're an
playing a
idiot.
game with dragons in it. Like, don't talk to me
Yeah.
about realism.
But to take the glitch conversation in a different angle,
Yeah.
what is your take on uh gaming the system, so to speak? So using glitches to maximize certain things in the game, Kyle, like I
Well,
don't know, money or
yeah.
duplicating items or all that kind of stuff.
There have been a couple runs where I used the chess trick, where I believe you go
Okay.
to Dawnguard, not Dawnguard, Dawnstar, I think is the town's name,
Okay.
and like you can like instigate like the travelers that come through town, and those
Mm,
travelers are getting their inventory from a chest that
sure.
exists under a tree.
Yep. Yep.
It's a
Yep.
broken thing that they just never took out. And if
Right.
you skip ahead every 3 days and you go to that chest after you see the merchants visually, you can
Yep.
steal everything from that chest,
Yep.
go to a merchant, sell all that stuff,
Yep.
go back to Dawnstar, skip 3 days, go back to that chest, and you can, and I've done that so many times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wasn't my first playthrough, not my current
Right.
playthrough either.
Right.
But on
Okay.
playthroughs, I just wanted to cruise through and get some money. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm all about gaming it, and I'm all about people to do whatever you want. I don't
Yeah.
care. I don't
It's
care.
fun.
You're not coming into my game with your broken character and ruining my game. So like, what do I care? Like what you're doing with your
Exactly.
character?
Exactly.
And I'm all about it. And like, I was explaining earlier, like I did all the blacksmithing, not glitches, but like exploits, I guess you would call them. Where
Sure.
like
Sure.
you multiply your enchantment and your blacksmithing using gear and potions to a point that it multiplies 1,000,000 times over.
Yeah.
And now like your stick weapon, which is not even like a legendary weapon, it's just a stick, can
Sure.
literally bat bosses like so far out of the skybox that they just like glitch out and die.
Nice.
And like, yeah, you can play the whole game like that if you want to,
Yeah.
And I've done that,
That's pretty funny.
and again, like you have to know how to do that stuff. So you're not gonna like accidentally stumble into this stuff. So it's like these are things you have to go out of your way to do. So like they don't mess up your experience either.
No. Like
and then people who are bothered by this, like, go see a therapist. I don't know what to tell you.
That's just good advice all around.
Just all around.
Yeah, I found there's one in Whiterun actually. So there's like this spot in the ground that's right by this particular house. Just this one spot for some reason that you can fall through it, and then you're underneath the world. Kind of like back in the day where like you'd fall through the ground and you'd like keep falling, but you'd like looking up and you see like that kind of situation.
Oh, yeah. Very
You could basically walk around outside of Whiterun, and then you go under where the there's that dude that's the companions, the werewolf guys, the companions.
Yeah.
There's like that guy that's the blacksmith.
Mhm.
You basically go under where he's doing all his blacksmith stuff, and there's his chest because he sells stuff.
Mhm.
So everything he sells is inside that chest.
Well, it's the same thing that I'm doing, but you're doing it in Whiterun.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So basically,
that's awesome. I've never heard about this one. This is great.
Yeah, you jump ahead a couple of days, you go to the chest, it has some money, you can take items out, sell the items back to him, and kind of rinse and repeat. So
Oh, I love it. And there's so many shops in Whiterun, you never even need to leave. You can just sell them all around town.
So I'm at 90 blacksmithing.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm about to tomorrow when I hop in. I'm gonna make some Daedric armor at level 30.
Oh yeah.
Level 30, Kyle. I'm gonna be running around with Daedric armor.
That's insane. Yeah, that's you're way ahead of the curve. That's for
yeah,
sure.
exactly. But yeah, it's just that's kind of stuff. And I did not do that the first time. And also I think like that stuff just wasn't really as prolific yet because the game had just come out.
Yeah.
But over the years, obviously, people find these glitches because again, it is a wonky game. There's going to be some weaknesses in sort of the world. They just stumble across these things, and it boggles my mind how they stumble across these things sometimes.
I don't know how you these things are so specific. You have to walk across a certain thing, and you follow the level. Then you have to know to go to this area. Like it's so
talk
bizarre.
to this person, look this way.
I can't tell you. The one that I was talking about, if you like even look the wrong way while you're doing like the site, like it will break the cycle, and you have to like reload your save. So it's like that's how sensitive it is, and like I don't know how people find stuff like this. Like it's totally crazy to me that people can do this. But I'm happy about it, and I'm even happier that Bethesda doesn't like code them out. Like I think that's cool.
Yeah.
They're just like, yeah, you guys found it, whatever. Yeah, have fun. Yeah. It's your game, like you guys bought it, and I like that where I don't know, there've been other games that like even Witcher, they're like, we coded that out. You can't do like you can't game the economy anymore. And I'm like, but that's literally what people do in real life is they buy pearls from one town and you go to another town, you sell them for way too expensive. Like that's like life or whatever. Like, you can't do that. And I'm like,
no. Geralt can't be rich.
No, and at least The Witcher did a clever thing where they would send like a tax collector after you, and they're like, "Hey, we heard that I
remember that.
Yeah, we heard that you sold too many pearls at too high of a price, and you can like choose to like interact with them or just tell them to fuck off or whatever." Yeah. And I was like, "This is at least silly. Like, I like this. You know, if you're gonna address it."
Like
they don't care in Skyrim. They're like, just hey man, cheat. We don't care. Just play our game.
Yeah, like you said, this game is basically limitless. You can do literally whatever you want.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit, Kyle.
Sky's the limit. I just did the Mages Guild stuff for the very first time. I'd never done that stuff ever because I've never been a mage. And like, so I'm telling you. Yeah, Winterhold. And it's an amazing story. Like everything in this game is so lore rich. You can pick up books and start reading stuff about the lore and everything. Yeah. And it's just like, again, this game is as deep as you want it to be. As much as you put in, you get back. If you want to pick up and read every book and turn this into a 10,000 hour experience where you're reading in-game books or whatever, you're gonna know so much about the thousands of years of history of this world. Yeah. And like it's not wasted, you know. Like I think all the lore is really good. I think that like whoever writes this stuff is a very good writer.
I think it's very Tolkien-esque. It
very much is. And,
it's just a different Lord of the Rings world.
And this one was very Game of Thronesy too, because like Game of Thrones was just coming out when this game came out.
The politics.
So it was just like it's all about politics and the Civil War, and like it's got a lot of vibes that are dragons coming back. You know, you're like, it had a lot of Game of Thrones vibes. You know, so like it really fit. It really came out in a time where people were like really feverish about like something fantasy.
Because one of the main threads in this particular there's Ulfric Stormcloak, which you actually meet him right in the beginning, that introduction. Is like starting an uprising, right? And he killed the king or something. Yeah, it's the Nords versus
the Empire. Yeah.
So it's like kind of like the little guys
kind of choose a side, and you can like, and I'm doing the non-Nord side for the first time ever in this playthrough, so I'm seeing stuff that I've never seen before. You know, like, and again, like, you know, as many times as I played this game, like I'm still like stumbling across things that. I'm like, I don't remember this. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah. Well, how can you? I mean, it's so much.
It's too much. I probably forget more than I remember, you know?
And like you said, you're doing the College of Winterhold, like the mage stuff. Like I remember doing that the first playthrough, and I went there this time as well. I haven't done all of the stories, but like, again, you can choose to be like, I'm a warrior, but like if you want to go to the College of Winterhold and do some mage stuff, you can just go explore those missions, or
you can,
you can be a werewolf, or if you have the Dawnguard DLC, So I actually got far. There's like a woman that you find in
Serena?
This like Serena. Yeah. Thank you. And you bring her back to basically the like main vampire stronghold, and her dad and like everyone's just chilling in there.
He's like a vampire lord or god or something. Yeah.
And he's like, hey, so your reward is have some of my blood, dude. And like, because I'm a werewolf, I was like, so is it cool that I'm a werewolf though? And he's like, yeah, I smell that on you. It's fine. My blood's gonna rinse you of that impurity. And it's like, oh snap, okay. I did not go the vampire route though, because I want to do werewolf.
Yeah, good.
But I just thought it was cool that it acknowledged it.
Yeah, then that is cool. You know, that's super cool. When I love that whole Dawnguard like palette, like as you unlock people or save people, like they come back to the palace and like start doing like, you know, like making armor for you or doing this for you or whatever. And that's like 20 hours of content. Like that game that's so long. Like this game is hundreds of hours already, and like every one of their DLCs or expansions is like 20 to 40 hours of content, and it's like the audacity that they have that we don't have other things to do. You know, like it's just like it's crazy to me. Like,
and, hold on, let me go back to my timeline here. What was it? So all right, so Skyrim came out in 2011, and then they released the Legendary Edition with all 3 DLCs 2013. So literally within 2 years, they made 3 DLCs.
Huge, like that's gigantic DLCs.
Like that's pretty crazy, right? You know,
they are. I mean, it's a good game. I don't understand, and you know, it's that revisionist history that we all go through. Whatever. Again, like you were talking about when that game came out, we all loved it. I'm like, I was there, Dan. I know we all loved it. And now in recent years, people are like, whatever, man. You know, like, well,
the game's broken.
Game's broken. I'm like, I don't know. It's always been kind of
come out.
it's just crazy to me that like and you know that once 6 comes out, everybody and their mom is gonna buy that game, and like it's gonna just make me mad. Yeah, Skyrim Grandma is gonna be there night 1, picking it up.
Absolutely. Kyle,
Um,
I wanted to show you something
yeah.
kind of fun. So it's a side by side of all of the Elder Scrolls. I'm just trying to share my screen with you here,
Okay, sure.
just so I could show you. But then when I'm actually editing, I'll just kind of show the image.
Yeah, perfect.
So let me know when you can see the screen. Not sure if you see it.
Not yet, no.
No?
Mm-mm.
Hold on. Oh, you know what? Because I didn't hit start sharing.
Oh yeah, that'll happen. There we go. Yeah, I see that.
Isn't that awesome? So
That's super cool.
You had Elder Scrolls Arena, which was the
Uh-huh.
first Elder Scrolls game, then Daggerfall, Morrowind, Oblivion, and then Skyrim. But
Yeah.
The visual differences as you go up is just funny, and it's just cool.
And they're big too, you know. So like
Yeah.
you hear a lot that like Oblivion and Skyrim, like they're not that different. I'm looking at them right now. They're very different.
Yeah,
Like the
Oblivion
detail
looks
is
a little better than I remember. Like this character model doesn't look like
just not
super
detailed.
terrible.
No, it's just not as detailed. That's all.
But yeah,
Like I remember Oblivion looking like Morrowind.
Yeah,
that's how I
sure.
remember.
Well, you look at this dark elf over here, and it's like, all right, it's definitely a little flatter than
This
than
is an
these couple of
amazing
guys.
compare, you know, and just think about like, and there's never been 10 years between 2 entries too. So like, I'm telling you, like, I think Elder Scrolls 6 is just going to be so out of this world. I think that we're going to be so blown away. In fact, when I started Skyrim on my PlayStation 5, I was like, I can't believe this game looks this good. You know, the water, you know, like just the foliage and the grass
Again,
and
the
just the
sky,
world
dude. The
itself.
sky just I could
Yeah, I
stare
can't
up
get
at
over that.
that
I can't get
sky.
over that sky. I just can't get over the clouds, and I can't get over, you know,
Beautiful
anything.
music.
I was trying to bring that up earlier. The music is some of the best ever. I still
So
listen to that
ambient.
soundtrack. It's so good. It's so epic when it needs to be.
Yep.
Again, like if you stumble upon like a dragon priest altar or whatever, and they bust out of their crypt or whatever, and that music starts swelling up, and it's so perfect and it's so fitting. And I don't know if there's any other game in history, maybe The Witcher like hits these notes too, that just makes me feel like I'm on an adventure. And for Witcher, like it always feels like I'm always looking for Yennefer or Ciri, like that's what I'm doing. There's none of that in this game. Like there's no, I don't like, you don't need to be anywhere in this game. Like you just are where you are, and like
but you can be everywhere.
You really can.
You
and
can literally be everywhere.
It's just a treat. Like from the beginning in Whiterun, if you just like hey, on my second playthrough, I'm gonna go west instead of east this time, to a west city instead of an east city.
Yeah.
You're gonna set yourself on a whole different like path of interesting things that like maybe you didn't get to till later, or maybe not at all ever, you know. So I just feel that like every time I played this game, I think I've done it a different way. Maybe I've played the same character, but like I've unleashed the quest in a different way, and it's just again, I just don't know a lot of games that like just feel this free. Like it's the ultimate sandbox game.
It is,
and it's out of this world. It's a treat. I'm glad we live in the timeline where this game exists. You know?
Me too. I know Tim has told us that he's tried playing it before and didn't get into it, and I mean that happens. You know, there's just gonna be games like that. I think it's if you're one of those people that maybe has tried playing this game, maybe you just didn't get quite far enough. I think the key is to at least get to fight that first dragon, like you said.
Yeah,
because once you get
it's like 3 hours in if you're just doing, maybe 4 if you're just doing the main missions, you know.
Yeah, so get to that and then kind of pick like maybe something specific. I don't know, like a type of build, or you know what, even if it is your first playthrough, if you want to like go ahead and do the exploits just so you can kind of like beef up, like I said, the blacksmith, for example, so you can get sick armor and just run around and just goof around and just kill people in towns, because you can do that in this game. You can kill the townsfolk in this game.
You can be
like,
a total villain,
like just I think if you've played this game, maybe you just didn't get quite far enough. I mean, again, I know that visually it's wonky, and the mechanics and sort of
and maybe
the
combat's
animations
not gonna jive with everybody. Like, you know, it's just it is what it is. You know,
but try being a mage like Kyle. Kyle went down the mage route this time. Maybe
and
that
it's
would
totally
be more
different. Yeah, I haven't swung a sword once, and it's been amazing. It's been really interesting. You can conjure. I'm watching Bruce Green do his Skyrim go through right now. It's kind of what I go to sleep to right now. And like he doesn't do anything. He conjures things and makes other things fight for him.
That's
So like
pretty
he's
cool.
got Lydia, he'll conjure an astronaut or whatever, and he'll
Yeah.
like raise the dead and just let all three of those things like attack whatever that he's doing. And he's never
Yeah.
swung a sword, he's never attacked, he's never done anything. And he's like, this is just how I want to play the game, and he just chose to do it that way. Again, the game is what you make it, you know.
It is.
I agree with that. Like giving it that fair shake to find the flow of the game and kind of what the game wants out of you or expects out of you. I think you'll be really surprised, and maybe that overwhelmed feeling never goes away, you know, because like the second you find like one guild, you'll find another, and you're like, oh my god, what guild do I want to go be a bard? I don't know. Like it can feel overwhelming in the amount of things you want to do, but just stop, realize you're never gonna do everything in this game, and choose the things you do want to do. You know, like read the quest. Like if you get a quest, like read, and if you've had it for a while in your log, and you don't know if you should do it or not, like read what it's about. And if it sounds anything like it's interesting, like do it. If it sounds dumb and you don't want to do it, don't do it, you know? Just always know that you're always going to have a quest in that log. You're probably never going to clear out that whole log, and you don't need to. That's not the point of the game. Funnel yourself down the avenues that make you happy, you know? And I think that anybody could find something out of this game. Even if you don't see it all the way through to 100 hours, you know, I think you could still have a really good, like, wholesome 20 hours with this game or whatever, however long that lasts, you know, just as long as you're still having fun with it.
I think really to sum it all up, Kyle, is that Skyrim is the 2021 GOTY.
It is
obviously.
Game of the year. Game of the year.
Yeah.
2021 Game of the Year.
Absolutely.
Also the 2020, what other years did it come out in? 2017, 2012, 2011.
Let me go back. Yeah, 13, 16, 17, 18. Yep, exactly.
Maybe not the VR year, because I hear
Yes.
like you teleport in that game. You don't really walk around. Like,
It's fine.
You want to, yeah.
It's
sounds
still
like it's
better.
gonna make me sick.
It's still better. It's a pleasant sickness, Kyle. It's a pleasant.
If we
sickness.
did a Hall of the Greats on our show, like Easy Hours does,
Yeah.
this game would be one of the very first games that I nominate. For like 100% for sure. Like it's so, and I know I could make a case hard enough where like even people who don't like the game, they'd be like,
you get my vote.
Great. We're in. That's two. It's 2 votes already.
I get Final Fantasy 7, obviously.
Yeah,
you would
fine.
do Skyrim. I'll do 7. And
I'll vote for yours if you vote for mine. But yeah, I think this is an easy game to petition as like just one of the all-time greats. You know, that's why it's been released so many times. That's why like its popularity has like imploded on itself, because popular things do that. Like suddenly we all hate it because like, oh, we all love it. Oh, I'm gonna be a hipster and hate it. You know.
Yes,
So we've reached that with this game, and I don't know. I think it's just awesome, and I can see myself coming back and playing this game every 3 or 4 years. To be honest, you know, I find a lot of comfort in it.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. I'm glad you're really giving it like a really hard shake right now, because it sounds like you're hours in and just loving it. So.
Yeah, you too with doing mage. That just sounds cool. So
it's super cool. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, super cool game, super GOTY game. It's the best GOTY. It's the GOTY of all the years.
We should cancel our Game of the Years this year and just it's Skyrim. Yeah.
I think this is actually the GOTY conversation. We'll just like have this be.
I'll consult with Tim, and we'll just hand this this file to him.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah. All right, Kyle. Well, you know, Skyrim is awesome, and anyone who thinks otherwise has a stick up their butt. So
yeah. Hey, Final Fantasy is not the only fantasy. Go play Skyrim.
Yes, the American fantasy.
Yeah,
if you're anti-Japan like Jeff, then go play American fantasy.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, thank you, Kyle, as always. I appreciate it. This was fun.
I appreciate you. Yeah, thank you.
I like talking about games in a positive manner for the most part, because there's not enough positivity in the world, so I appreciate you.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah, and I like coming in here and focusing on a singular topic and just like, I don't know, just really just uplifting it, you know? Yeah. I think that there's not enough of that, so.
Absolutely. Everybody go play Skyrim and be nice to each other. Everyone
Hug your mom.
Hug your mom while you're playing Skyrim.
Hug your mom while you're playing Skyrim. Hug your Skyrim grandma while you're playing Skyrim.
Yeah, exactly. We all need a Skyrim grandma. All right, Kyle. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.